Hi, my name's Ty Clement. I'm going to give you a brief presentation about holding your end of the stick in relationships. It's something we all must do, obviously, if the stick is going to be held on both ends in any relationship, okay? So the stick is a symbol of the relationship, okay? We both want to be holding it if we're in a relationship, okay? We've got two people, we're going to hold our end of the stick. Okay, this is the map, the yin-yang snowman. There's a previous video you can watch about that. But we're going to kind of, I guess, refer to this map, the yin-yang snowman, as a helpful tool as we discuss holding your end of the stick in relationship. Okay, so what the idea of holding your end of the stick is in relationship is that when somebody comes to you who you love and they say, this is really hurting me, this thing you're doing, you don't say, forget about it, you know, how dare you give me that feedback, how dare you say that to me. Okay? If you're doing that, what you're saying is you don't love this other person. You don't want to know how they feel. Is that what you want to convey? Is that how you really feel? Okay. So if you've ever had someone try to tell you that you were hurting their feelings and your response was, how dare you, okay? Remember, 3 fingers right back at you, right? Okay. How dare you? No. How about go ahead and teach me about you because I do love you and I want to know about you. So tell me more here. You said I hurt your feelings. Let's go. So I try to hold my end of the stick gently and fairly, okay, level with where they're holding theirs. They say, you're hurting my feelings, this thing you're doing. So I say, okay, tell me more about it. What is it that's happening and what part of it is hurting, you know? Okay, so this is where we might refer to the map here. Okay, let's say every time this fella goes out, his wife's pretty supportive because she knows that men need time, you know, with the guys doing things with their buddies. But every time he goes out, things go way longer than he says they will or than the plan is. So what happens is, in this discussion holding the end of the stick, you know, the wife says, hey, honey, I'm pretty supportive of your music career or whatever it is, but hey, what's going on with every time you go out, it being longer than you say? So the man can do one of two things, obviously, right? He can say, what are you giving me all that you know what for? He can be angry that she's telling him that this is hurting her feelings, okay? Now, we all might have that emotional reaction. That's our childish mind bubbling up with like defensiveness. That's okay. But we kind of should know that, well, we don't want to just be like, hey, how dare you say that, right? We want to be like, okay, well, I feel a little under the radar, but hey, that's true. I usually take longer than I say, okay? That's holding my end of the stick. Okay, so that's where I can say, if I have this key, I can be like, yeah, okay, here's what happens. I'm out with the guys, we're playing music, I just want to finish what I'm doing, you know, with the rehearsal, and then afterwards, people are talking and relaxing for a minute, and then I kind of need to go, but if I'm dependent on someone else for a ride, then I feel kind of childish, being like, well, I have to get home to mommy. And then that's actually me being childish because it's right there that I could be manly and be like, yo, guy, I got to go. Let's get out of here. Right? But I don't feel big because I'm feeling like insecure about saying, oh, I need to get home to my wife. See? So I'm caught in the middle there between like my childish mind and where I could be in my adult integrity mind. I could be like, hey, guys, I got to get out of here. Let's hit it. So you see how all those places on this map start to light up then? You see how, you know, I have to be righteous enough. I don't want to be totally righteous. I don't want to be like, yo, guys, I got to get out of here right now. You knew that. What are you taking so long for? That's silly stuff, right? That'd be me being righteous. But that little bit of righteous mind in my integrity mind would be me being able to say to the guys, you know, hey, fellas, I really got to get going. Can we get out of here? Okay. So if I'm not childish, I can say that kind of thing, right? So what's really childish? Childish mind and righteous mind can do this team up on the wife now. And if the guy doesn't want to take responsibility, he can say, you know, how dare you do this? You know, every time, you know, I try to have my life, you try to control me. He can get all defensive. But what's going to happen there is the problem just continues. The wife feels invalidated. It's equivalent to him just letting down his end of the stick. You know, so there is this opportunity to not be so childish that you can't really ask the guys to go, okay? Admit it, okay? You need to have a pair and say, hey fellas, it's time to go. So, I think if you can find a way to recognize that the childish thing is throwing down your end of the stick, not having the courage to stand up and, say what you need to say to other adults. Then you can start to stop punishing your wife for the fact that you're actually childish. Or vice versa, because ladies, we know you're getting away with a lot of childish stuff too, aren't you? A lot of times more subtle than the men's stuff. The men's stuff is all external. It's like they're in trouble left and right. Their childish stuff, they leave a messy trail behind them. A lot of the ladies are off the hook because their childish mind is more discreet. It's dressed up in mommy goodness. But that can be full of hypocrisy and control trips that are very childish mind, righteous minded, okay? And we know what that my way or the highway mom looks like, just like we know what that my way or the highway dad looks like. And they are in each of us, okay? That's the point. We don't sit there at home and judge, okay, this person's a righteous jerk. This person's a fair person. That's not really capturing a whole person, because I can promise you every person that seems fair, if you follow them around long enough, you'll see them get pretty righteous-minded in some situation when it's their stuff that's getting messed with. So that's the whole point of this key and this idea of the stick, is it's saying none of us are good at relationship. We're all this at relationship. We're all this combination of good and bad at relationship. We're all bound to holding the stick with our loved ones, never thinking, oh, I'm a relationship expert. I don't need to do any of this. Who would that be? Nobody, right? So let's not pretend with each other, ever. Let's do this stuff, okay? And if we each do this, linking up in partnerships with our friends, with our parents, our loved ones, whoever is willing to hold their end of the stick, we'll make a strong society of good relationships. If people aren't willing to hold their end of the stick, there's turn the other cheek, and that's good as a starting place a few times, because misunderstandings are easy with communication being so complicated. But after you turn the cheek a few times, if the person just consistently kind of does the childish move and the righteous blame move, and it just isn't going anywhere, there is a point you need to step away, right? And that's where you turn the other cheek. And you walk off, and that's all they really get from then on from you. But you don't go on sticking around, taking it, complaining, staying in righteous mind, childish mind yourself, right? That's goofy. There is a point at which you walk away from abuse and mistreatment. By being in touch with your integrity mind, parent mind, and keeping your child mind safe. Because you matter as much as any other child. Because you're a person just like every other child's a person. All right, that's enough of that serious stuff. You have a great day.